Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, and today I have an Xbox Series X. Now I was a bit worried that I was going to get an Xbox One X because I heard horror stories on Reddit of people getting that, but Amazon gave me the real one. So yeah, pretty big, not too heavy. Power your dreams, and now I'm noticing that my head is kind of cut off, but whatever. I'm dealing with some construction issues, so this was the best I can do on short notice. Please excuse everything. So let's open this bad boy up. And first off, the tape is like not fully sealed, so I'm kind of worried that the console may be cracked or something because right here, yeah, that's not something you want to see in a prestigious item like this. Some little thing I used to do when I was a kid, use my keys in order to unlock packages because I was scared of knives and getting cut. And I'm using my keychain from E3 2019 from Nintendo. Okay. First one down, second one. At least the second side is much more sealed. Wait, so why weren't these on the other side? Okay, let's just put that there. Open the package. Make sure it doesn't fall out. Ooh. This is pretty fancy. Like, I've had press kits before. In fact, I have a Dying Light statue back there. I don't think you guys can see it. I'll probably put it... One sec. The package is covered, but I've had press kits before. And this definitely looks like a press kit. They actually went all out on this thing, which is really impressive. I'm probably going to break this if I put it on the floor. But yeah, this is really cool. I wonder how Sony's going to package the PS5. I haven't seen any unboxing videos for the PlayStation 5. Even though Yang Ye put one out. Anyway, power your dreams. Oh, it's really good plastic. So, I actually feel... it's like you're opening a present. It's really just like a present. Honestly, I'm not kind of a... even though it looks really good in presentation, I like to keep all my boxes like nice and fit. Xbox, my first Xbox One, I actually got one of the first editions. I have Project Scorpio Xbox One X, which I'll compare it with this console. But yeah, I just like keeping everything together. It's one of my things. Alright, here comes the console itself. It's kind of wedged in there. Ooh, it's a bit heavy. They were not kidding. This thing is... I mean, it's about the weight of a modern PC, if that gives you an idea. Like, if you were to just go into a, like, say, a Best Buy and get the latest model of any random PC. Like, it's not too heavy, but also it's not that big. Like, people were complaining about how big this thing is. It's not. So, what else I have here? The controller and battery options. Oh, wow, that is... oh, cool. So, we have... so, yeah, just your basic cables. HDMI cable, which you definitely need in a console like this. Power cable. What else? Alright. The controller. I'm a little worried that I'm going to drop this. What else is in here? Is it just a pattern? Yes, it's just pattern. You know what's a bit strange? They didn't include any like free trial membership. In the older original Xbox 360s, they used to give you free trials, like 48-hour Xbox Live. I'm a little surprised they didn't do that with this, like 48-hour Xbox Ultimate Pass or something like that. What are you gonna do? Wow, the box, even without the Xbox, the box is pretty heavy. They did not skimp on the styrofoam. So, here's the system. Let's just get that out. Ooh. Oh, if you have tryptophobia, which is the fear of holes, like all my friends and my girlfriend has, this is probably not gonna be too appealing to you. It's probably gonna make you very uneasy. But me, I'm weird. I find little holes to be very relaxing and fascinating. I know I'm really weird, but yeah. So yeah, lots of little holes up here. Which also makes me a little alarmed because if you accidentally spill something, yeah, it will go straight down. So probably put it on its edge, on its side, because you don't want that to happen. It's happened to me once and I was terrified. Thankfully my PC didn't suffer any damage. But yeah. Alright, so this is the system. It's actually a very simple design. Looks just like a PC. Like if a much more smaller and compact PC. It kind of reminds me of the compact Alienwares they used to sell. They used to sell this very slim Alienware system, and it was a big selling point. They tried to push this as like this is the next generation of gaming and all that. And it kind of reminds me of that, like in the simple design of it. So yeah, you can clearly see the disk drive right here. Very easy to navigate. Power button. That's right here. Good. Oh my god, thank you. They have a button. It's not one of those touch screens. I hate the touch screen power button because I always feel like that's one more part that can fail, and if it fails, you're basically screwed. So I'm much more comfortable with buttons than an actual touch screen. So yeah, I like that. Plus, buttons don't smear as much. That's another thing. I hate smearing. But it's very simple in the design. The front USB cable is here for your Xbox One controller. Just put it there. Eject button. So for those who don't want to know what's on the back, we have, I know my webcam, I'm trying to get a better camera, but let's see. We have two USB cables, so you can, an external storage slot. We have HDMI out, Ethernet cable, so you know, all your basic stuff. I mean, I think it comes up with just as many as the Xbox One X. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, it's basically the same layout as the Xbox One X. They have more venting in the back because, you know, ever since the Red Ring of Death for the Xbox 360, they don't want to repeat that. That was a marketing disaster and horrible for anyone who had it. I actually spent, I think, close to $300 repairing Xbox 360s because they kept breaking. I actually had a Modern Warfare 2 console, which I do have. In fact, I have both my original Xbox 360 consoles, which I will be comparing with the Xbox One X. Series X, sorry. So, these are the original models. Well, this is technically second generation Xbox 360. This is first generation. This was the infamous one with the Red Ring of Death. This one still works, but unfortunately I lost the power cable, so I have to buy a new one. But yeah, as you can see, it's actually the same size when standing up to an Xbox 360. So, in reality, not that big of a deal. I mean, it's much wider, as you can see. But in terms of height, it's actually the same size. So it's not a big deal in terms of size. And yeah, this one I had to repair twice. This cost me $200. This cost me $100. This one actually broke 1 week after I got it at GameStop. And they refused to take it back. They said, no, we can't take it back. You have to send it to Microsoft. Microsoft charged me $100. So now I don't shop at GameStop anymore. I refuse to shop at that company ever again after they did that to me. So yeah. And interesting note, this disk drive on this console doesn't work anymore, so I have to actually use a credit card to pull it out. So yeah, Xbox 360 older models are starting to fail, and yeah, kind of in a dire situation. But you can see the comparison size of the Xbox 360. I was going to bring my original Xbox, but I couldn't find it. So that sucks. But I do have a modern 360. In fact, this is my most rare and prestigious item. I won this from IGN. This is a Gears of War Judgment console. The only way you could get this is by winning a contest from a raffle. So this is the latest Xbox 360. I believe you can still get these. I'm not sure if they discontinued these, but yeah. It's a bit smaller. I would say about an inch smaller. But yeah, just in case you want to see this console, my rarest console ever. So yeah, I'm actually really proud of this baby. I started to use it recently because my Xbox 360s are broken down, or at least they're really hard to use. But you know, what's the point of having something if you're not going to use it? But yeah, pretty good in terms of size and width. So let's compare it to an Xbox One X. I gave my Xbox One, I lent it to my girlfriend, so I can't compare that, but this is an Xbox One X. As you can see, yep, definitely bigger in terms of width, but in terms of long way, the same height. I don't think you can play this system sideways. I'm not sure. Don't take my word for it. I've never done it. But yeah, it's about, you know, not that big of a difference. This is a Project Scorpio model too. Now let's compare it to the PlayStation 4 Pro. So this is a PS4 Pro. Obviously it's way longer, but on its side, yeah, about the same height. So if you want to gauge the height, just put your PlayStation 4 Pro on the side and you get the general size of this system. And yeah, it's only like a centimeter taller, but it's because it's at a curve that it's a little taller. It's like it curves right here. So yeah, I'm still really worried about this exposed vent on top. I understand it's for, so they don't have another incident, but God, it just makes me freaked out that anytime liquid can come down in this, I'm going to have to like put something on top that's not permeable for liquids in any way, because that can happen and it scares the hell out of me. And just to add to it, let's compare it to the SNES Mini and the Sega Genesis Mini. So it's the exact size of a Sega Genesis Mini in terms of width. It beats out the SNES Mini though. These are really great consoles, so can't really complain about that. And yeah, that is the Xbox Series X. I will be playing the system as soon as I can. I did get Assassin's Creed Valhalla, so I will be playing that. Didn't get a review copy. Ubisoft never came back to me, and I was really disappointed with Watch Dogs Legion, so check out that review. But I heard good things for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, plus I'm a huge Assassin's Creed fan. And before we go, we have to look at the controller. So this is an Xbox Series X controller. In all honesty, I will hold up both models and you can see quite the difference. So this is an Xbox Series X, the original model, and this is the new model. You see the D-pad is a little better. Like it does have a much more, I guess it has more traction to it. There's a clicky feel to it. It's much better than this model controller, as you can see. I never really liked the D-pads on the Xbox One, but this one is actually really good. I like how they modeled it entirely with the plastics going all the way in a circle, so it's easier to make those hard turns if you use the D-pad. Obviously, we have more buttons up here, for that screening, and compared to the Xbox One X. The buttons look cooler. It's much simpler. Like, there's a lot less rigid. There's not that ridge. As you can see here, there's no ridge here on the top part, as opposed to this part where you can see the distinct ridges. This is an original model Xbox One controller, so yeah. I mean, it's simple and it's effective. A lot of people copy the Xbox One's design because it is essentially the best controller when it comes to first-person shooters and platforming games. Before it was the PlayStation controller, and then before that it was the NES controller, but to me the Xbox One is really the pinnacle when it comes to controller design. Again, it's a matter of preference, but I prefer Xbox One. And we could see in comparison to an Xbox 360 controller, they've actually kept most of the design, but I actually prefer the Xbox 360 controller. I recently used it for replaying Mass Effect, and it's really good. I mean, I actually preferred the thumbsticks for the Xbox 360 controller compared to this. And it also doesn't have that same smooth feeling. If you've ever held an Xbox One controller, it has like a smoother plastic to it. Here, it's a little more coarse, a little more rough, I guess, for traction. So if you play for long hours, you could it just feels like it would keep your hand much more steady And it doesn't seem that you will sweat all over it. If you sweat on your controller, it seems like this will maintain that level of traction as opposed to a, say, Xbox 360 controller, since it was made of a very smooth plastic. If you were to sweat on it, it becomes a little harder to like maintain that level of traction when it comes to finger movement. If that makes sense, I'm trying to explain it as best as I can. It's only something that you can really feel rather than to explain. So that is the Xbox Series X in terms of the overview. I will be playing a video game and seeing how it performs gameplay wise, and yeah, let's see. So after, several hours of downloading Gears 5 again, because this game has a lot of updates, let's just say my first initial impressions were not good. So I downloaded the entire game, at least according to Xbox Series X, and the game simply would not start for me. And when I finally got into the title menu, I was greeted with this. Yeah, I don't know how to explain this. Look at that. Look at the textures on Marcus Phoenix, and if you assume that's just for that one character model, you will be sadly mistaken. So when I get into the menu of selecting the characters, it's present for everyone. So as you can see here from the character models, all of them have improper textures. And before you say just reinstall the game, I actually did do that. I reinstalled this game twice. It took me, I am not joking, 20 hours to reinstall the game. I downloaded it once, took 10 hours, uninstalled it, reinstalled it, and yeah, this is happening again. So it's a little confusing about why this is happening to me, and unfortunately I couldn't play the game because it wouldn't load up. So I don't know, I guess I'm the only one facing this issue. So The Witcher 3 actually fared a bit better. So on the left side, you can see the Xbox One X version. On the right side, you can see the Xbox Series X version. I definitely noticed better lighting and shadows on the Xbox Series X version. Load times were quicker, animations were more fluid. Overall, the performance was vastly different from the Xbox One X, but during cutscenes, you don't really see much of a difference. They still play out the same way, but in terms of actual gameplay, everything just has this touch and polish that brings a new level to how the game looks, but not to such a radical degree. So you can see it from this cutscene right here that the load times between the Xbox Series X and the Xbox One is a bit different in terms of length. It's very short on the Xbox Series X, but in the Xbox One X it takes a little longer for things to load. But with the Series X, everything just moves quicker and everything is at that higher degree of polish with more detail and a lot more fluid animations. When it comes to Batman Arkham Knight, the second game I tested, I noticed smaller details within the Xbox Series X version of the game. Now, in this opening scene, when you first call the Batmobile, you won't notice much in terms of a difference. You can see from the Batmobile's wheels, but if you actually look a bit closer, there are smaller, more particle effects within the Batmobile. Like on the roof of the Batmobile on the Xbox Series X, you can see more rain effects than on the Xbox One X version. And here, while the game is loading, there's definitely a noticeable difference. You'll see it right here during this cinematic camera that the loading time for the Xbox Series X version was a little faster, as I was able to get the prompt for the acceleration much quicker. But ultimately, I would say that the Xbox Series X does perform a bit more in terms of graphics, but it's not that much in the difference that you'll notice a huge leap. I didn't notice any of these massive differences. There were definitely more effects and more particles in the air, but it wasn't a huge system seller. At this point, the Xbox Series X, it's a good system, especially if you want a powerful PC, but in terms of a system-selling gaming console, I just don't see the appeal of getting it on day one. Everything that you can get on the Xbox Series X, you can get on other platforms, and probably even better if you get a high-powered PC. But if you're looking for a cheap alternative for 120 frames per second and 4K gaming, this is definitely an appealing option, especially when you couple with Xbox Ultimate Pass, which gets you a lot of great games, especially Microsoft published day one games, and they recently acquired Ninja Theory, Double Fine, and a bunch of other studios. Please, Ninja Theory, make a sequel to Enslaved Odyssey to the West or DMC Devil May Cry, but that's up to Capcom and ultimately up to Bandai Namco, saying that they own Enslaved and Capcom owns DMC Devil May Cry. Either way, this is my interpretation of the Xbox Series X. It's a good console, definitely appealing,
but there's really nothing that you can't get it on other systems. There's no system seller, no groundbreaking game, but it is a good console. So tell me what you think about the Xbox Series X in the comments below. Leave a like, and I'll see you all next time. Stay awesome, everyone.